I think you come to Belgium to win it. Wabash always fight.
Hello and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, it's a good week to talk about Wabash College football. A 31-13 victory over Wittenberg on Saturday. The way things have worked out, you're tied for first place in the North Coast Athletic Conference, but you have wins over the other three teams. First, let's just talk a little bit about that game. I mean, there were so many things that your football team did to set itself up for success, and two of the first things I'm thinking of, you didn't turn the ball over and you forced 3 turnovers, and then you were able to really keep the ball offensively. You won the time of possession battle, and your offense really executed well throughout the game.
We did. The no penalty thing, or pardon me, no turnover thing is huge. Also, the penalty piece, I know we won that battle. We wanted to play a Wabash type of game. We did, and then I think our kids competed at a very high level. It reminded me somewhat of last year's game at Wittenberg.
You talked last week about trying to maintain that mental focus, and with the first half of the schedule, it just maybe seemed to be a little too much to be able to stay at that same high level week after week going into the Worcester game. But it certainly looked like, and I asked the question, did you think it would help springboard you to come back against a team like Wittenberg? And we'll talk about this in a little bit. Now you kind of dip down in the valley. You get ready to play a team that has not had the success of Wittenberg. But do you feel like your guys really came out? It just looked like from the opening kickoff, Wabash was ready to play on Saturday.
I think we were also. We enjoy so much support from our fans and families and alums. A home game at Wabash College, I think it's worth another 9 points every time we get on the field. Just the familiarity, the energy of the place. We enjoy that advantage and try to use it every time we have a home game.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some highlights from Saturday's victory. Again, a 31-13 win by the Little Giants over Wittenberg. And one of the guys I want to talk about right there is Liam Thompson. The freshman had just a tremendous game. Threw for a touchdown, rushed for 2 more touchdowns, including a big 4th down play that we'll talk about here in just a minute. He continues to just shine throughout the season, and his first big Wittenberg game, and he certainly played well.
He did, and I think he's got the capability of being one of the great quarterbacks here at Wabash. Tremendous work ethic, intelligence, love of the game, and I think when we talk about the Dave Brokers and Jake Knotts of the world, Liam could find his way into that conversation as just an all-around Wabash man.
We saw a little gimmick play that you ran on Saturday. Heisman Schemes takes the football, looks like it's going to be an end around, and of course he was a quarterback at Mississinawa High School and made a nice toss to Mason Durrett, and that was a heck of a catch that Mason made in the corner of the end zone.
Mason made a great catch. Heisman dropped a dime in there. And you're just not going to run it in against Wittenberg. They're not going to let you do that. I've banged my head against the wall trying to do it, and it's just hard to run the ball against them.
We mentioned Liam Thompson with 2 rushing touchdowns, and we'll get to the defensive side of the football here in just a minute. But you went for it on a 4th down play, and I know the conversation up in the press box at that time when you called the timeout leading into the 4th down play, there were a couple of people, is this just to get everything settled and to think about whether you want to go for 2 or go for the touchdown or go for the field goal? And I kind of looked over to the people helping me do stats, and I said, we're going for it because this is a situation, this is much like the first half of the Allegheny game late in that first half, where you score a touchdown there, as Liam did, and it's really a backbreaker. And I think you saw that against Wittenberg on Saturday.
We did, and also I think it's logic and math. Clearly, I like going for it on 4th down. Our defense was playing lights out. Wittenberg would have got the ball on the 2-yard line and had to go on 98 yards. I didn't think they could do that. Then I just thought we had a couple plays where we had kids, Liam being one, Cooper Sullivan being another, that something good was going to come out of it.
Stay on the offense here for a minute as we see Isaac Avant with his big 60-plus yard run. Isaac had been sick all week, had not been able to practice, had been resting to try and be able to go in the game. What a tremendous job that young man did on Saturday.
He did, and obviously Ike James really couldn't play. He's got an ankle injury. Isaac Avant, the word I would use is trust. I just trust him so much that he missed Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We don't practice on Friday, so he really didn't practice at all. Ate solid food on Friday for the first time, and then came out and just played his heart out. Did a great job.
212 yards of total offense, or of all-purpose yards on the day for Isaac, as he was had 66 receiving yards with a 67-yard reception to go with his big day on the ground as well. Defensively, there we see Cam Ferguson with one of his 2 interceptions. Played a little different defensive scheme on Saturday. What were the benefits of that for you, obviously, other than just the win?
We think it gets some of our better players in key spots. It also gets our really, all of our kids here are really smart. But if you looked at the 11 guys out on that field and how they do academically, it gives me just tremendous trust. There's that word again, that we're going to be great. By the way, Artie Akiwa has been accepted into his first med school. We have some, they are mentally tough guys, and we needed them all on the field against that Wittenberg team to beat them. Wittenberg came into the game undefeated in conference play. They had everything to gain, and we did a really nice job.
Well, and they were able to, Sarley had a very good game running the football, but you really, it seemed, kept Froelich kind of off balance in the passing game. Late in the game, got a big sack from Malcolm Lang that we saw on the highlights. We mentioned Cam Ferguson with 2 interceptions. Patrick Kelly had an interception, and then on special teams, you got a blocked extra point, and that was a huge extra point that was missed. And, again, staying with special teams, they marched down on their opening drive, but then missed the field goal attempt, and that kind of set the table for your offense.
It did. Special team-wise also, we out-punted them by about 11 yards every punt, which is just so big. But a complete game. And we weathered the third quarter Wittenberg comeback, which we seemed to get. Last year it was the fourth quarter. They are a championship program. They have championship culture, and they're not just going to give up. It's always going to be that way in this game. We talked about it at halftime, and our guys did a great job of weathering that storm and moving forward.
You mentioned the punting game. The NCAA statistics just out yesterday afternoon. Joey Ane is ranked 4th in Division III in punting, and your group as a team leads the nation in Division III in net punting average. So you've not only gotten great punts from Joey Ane, but then your coverage team has done a tremendous job not allowing teams to have big run backs against you.
It goes back to a year ago. We felt like we underachieved in the kicking game, and it's been a point of emphasis for us.
So another victory, as we mentioned, for the Little Giants, 31-13 over Wittenberg, and now that sets the table for this week. You are back on the road. You'll travel to Oberlin College for a 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. This is an Oberlin football team that it's safe to say has had a disappointing season. They have struggled offensively. They picked up a 7-0 win over Hiram last weekend for their first victory of the season, and that was just the second touchdown that they've scored all season long. They've scored only 17 points. They do not have a large roster, but still a very capable football team. What do you have to do to stay focused going into that game coming off of the Wittenberg win?
for me and the offensive side of our team, they're actually Oberlin is good on defense. They've got, and this isn't like coaching talk, they've got really good players who've been in the league a long time. They lost to Worcester 17-0. They have they shut out Hiram. Which is hard to do. They have the ability to keep a game close with their defense. So, and we are not good enough to jump on a bus and go up there for 7 hours and lay an egg. So I think our kids are focused. We had a really good Tuesday practice. We're going to go out later today, and hopefully that will be good. But I think our guys understand here's more coaching talk. We really do control our own destiny. One day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time. That stuff is applicable right now, and we're living in that world. We did this last year too, the last few weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Little Giants, again, tied with Wittenberg, with Denison, and with Ohio Wesleyan, but have victories over all three of those teams. And as we get a little closer toward the end of the regular season, we'll, of course, talk about what that means. But you mentioned Oberlin's defense, and they have kept, while they haven't been able to really put a lot of points on the board, they have kept every game very close. They played a very good Ohio Wesleyan team, had that score, in the right there for the getting if they could have put some points on the board. So does that concern you that at some point they may figure out their offense and be able to start putting some points on the board with the type of defense they have?
It does, and also their starting quarterback's been out. I think he may be back now. So we need to be ready for anything and everything. We do seem to get everyone's A game every Saturday. And I think we're going to be a prepared football team up in Ohio. We're keeping an eye on the weather and everything else, but we're going to be ready to go.
Well, one thing we certainly know, regardless of their record coming in, Oberlin's always been a very talented football team, and certainly one that if they put things together can be a difficult football team to play. That game, again, begins at 1 o'clock on Saturday. We will not have that on the radio for you, but Oberlin will have live video and live statistics. There are links on the website for that. And again, that game kicks off at 1 o'clock. Coach, safe travels up to the Cleveland area, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
You've been watching The Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. We'll talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgium to win it. Wabash always fight.